HOA claimed my road as theirs. I built a steel gate and sued them into bankruptcy. What would you do if your neighborhood HOA tried to seize control of your private road, threatening your access to your own home? For Clara Thompson, a retired schoolteacher living on the edge of a quiet suburban development in Clearwater, Florida, this wasn't just a hypothetical, it was a nightmare that unfolded over months of escalating conflict. Clara's small parcel of land, a half-acre lot with a private road leading to her cozy ranch-style home, became the battleground for a power-hungry HOA determined to expand its control. What started as a petty dispute over property lines spiraled into a legal showdown that left the HOA in ruins and Clara's resolve stronger than ever. Clara had lived on her property for over 20 years, long before the Estancia Town subdivision sprouted up around her. Her road, a narrow gravel path she'd maintained herself, was the only way to reach her home from the main county road. The HOA Estancia Town's Homeowners Association had always eyed her road with envy, claiming it was part of their community infrastructure. Despite Clara's deed clearly stating the road was hers, the HOA insisted it belonged to them, citing vague clauses in their covenants about shared access. They demanded she allow residents to use it freely and even threatened to pave it over for community use. Clara, a soft-spoken but fiercely independent woman, wasn't having it. "This is my land, my road, my home," she told the HOA board at a heated community meeting. "You don't get to rewrite my deed." The HOA's campaign began with letters polite at first, then increasingly aggressive. They claimed her road was causing aesthetic issues and insisted she remove a small wooden gate she'd installed years ago to keep stray dogs out. Clara ignored them, knowing her property rights were ironclad. But the HOA didn't stop there. They hired a surveyor who conveniently proved the road was part of their jurisdiction. A report Clara later discovered was riddled with errors. Then came the fines, $500 a month for non-compliance with community standards. Clara, living on a fixed pension, couldn't afford to pay, nor did she believe she should. "I'm not part of your HOA," she wrote back. "Leave me alone." The truth was, Clara's property predated the HOA's existence, and she'd never signed their covenants. Her land was grandfathered in, exempt from their rules. But the HOA, led by Karen Whitaker, a self-styled neighborhood queen with a penchant for control, refused to back down. Karen, a real estate agent with a knack for bending rules, rallied the board to escalate the fight. They claimed Clara's road was a public easement, based on a dubious interpretation of county records. Worse, they began harassing her with daily visits, photographing her property, and even sending cease and desist letters accusing her of trespassing on their road. Clara's quiet retirement turned into a daily battle to protect her home. The twist came when Clara's neighbor, Tom, a retired attorney who'd moved to Estancia Towns a year earlier, stumbled across the HOA's surveyor report while researching local property records for a hobby project. Tom, a wiry man with a sharp mind and a disdain for bullies, noticed discrepancies in the HOA's claims. The surveyor they'd hired was a friend of Karen's, and the report ignored key documents proving Clara's ownership. Tom knocked on Clara's door one evening, holding a stack of papers. "They're lying to you," he said, his eyes glinting with indignation. "This road is yours, and I can help you prove it." Clara, wary but desperate, invited him in. Over coffee, Tom laid out a plan. Fight the HOA in court, but first make a bold statement. That's when Clara decided to build the steel gate. She hired a local contractor to erect a sturdy, 8-foot-tall barrier across her road, complete with a keypad lock. The gate wasn't just a practical defense, it was a symbol of her defiance. The HOA went ballistic. Karen stormed to Clara's property, banging on the gate and shouting that it was illegal and an eyesore. Residents, egged on by Karen's dramatic emails, complained that Clara was dividing the community. But Clara stood firm. "If they want a war, they'll get one," she told Tom, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. The confrontation reached its peak when the HOA filed a lawsuit against Clara, demanding the gate's removal and claiming damages for obstructing community access. They sought $50,000 in fines and legal fees, confident their deep pockets and high-powered attorney would crush her. But Clara, with Tom's pro bono legal help, countersued. She accused the HOA of harassment, fraud, and attempting to unlawfully seize her property. Tom dug into the HOA's finances, uncovering a trail of mismanagement, inflated contracts with Karen's friends, unapproved special assessments, and a reserve fund drained to pay for frivolous lawsuits. The HOA's own records became their undoing. In court, the drama unfolded like a legal thriller. Karen took the stand, her polished demeanor cracking under Tom's relentless cross-examination. He presented the original deed, county records, and even testimony from a retired surveyor who debunked the HOA's claims. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with little patience for Karen's theatrics, grew visibly irritated as the HOA's case unraveled. Then came the bombshell. Tom revealed that Karen had personally profited from the surveyor's contract, pocketing a kickback for the falsified report. Gasps filled the courtroom. Karen's face turned crimson, her carefully crafted image shattered. The fallout was swift and brutal. The judge ruled in Clara's favor, dismissing the HOA's claims and ordering them to pay her legal fees and $75,000 in damages for harassment. But Clara's countersuit went further, targeting the HOA's financial misconduct. The court found the board liable for breaching their fiduciary duty, and the mounting legal costs pushed the HOA to the brink. Homeowners, furious at the prospect of special assessments to cover the judgment, revolted. Karen was ousted from the board, her reputation in tatters. The HOA, unable to pay its debts, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a desperate attempt to reorganize under court supervision. But with no reserve fund and dwindling homeowner support, they crumbled. By the end of the year, the HOA was dissolved, its assets liquidated to settle debts. Clara's victory wasn't just persona, it was a beacon for others trapped under overreaching HOAs. Her steel gate still stands, a quiet testament to her resolve. She and Tom became unlikely heroes in the community, with neighbors stopping by to thank them for exposing the HOA's corruption. Clara, now able to enjoy her retirement in peace, planted a garden near the gate, its flowers blooming defiantly against the steel. "I fought for what's mine," she said, sipping tea on her porch. "And I'd do it again." This story raises questions about power, property, and justice. Was Clara right to take such a bold stand? Or should she have negotiated with the HOA? Should HOAs have the power to challenge private property rights? And where do you draw the line between community standards and individual freedom? Share your thoughts. What would you have done in Clara's shoes?